Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
So, I spent the entire program yesterday. I do want to get to the voting stuff, but let me just, the SAVE Act, because it's important. And the way the Democrats are framing this is insulting beyond belief. But I do want to talk about the ape story, the Obama as apes. I don't know whether many of you know that this meme, which has caused so much frustration, which, by the way, I was disgusted by it. I am disgusted by it. I am unsympathetic to the argument that it is a staffer. If it's a staffer indeed that did this, the staffer should have been fired. I said that yesterday. Other people are saying it. But just so you know, and this isn't highlighted in many of the other stories, the Obamas were not the only ones depicted in this long video, which we only see a snapshot of on the Post that was made. The Post shows the picture of Barack Obama, former President Obama, and his wife Michelle depicted as apes, which is highly offensive. Why is it offensive? It is offensive because this is a racial trope that has been used as long as black people have been in America and in the Americas. And it was used because it was convenient to not recognize the humanity of black people and instead refer to them as little more than other primates, apes. And that was a common racist trope that has been used now for centuries. And it hasn't just been used against black people. When Abraham Lincoln was in office, some of the Democrat liberal publications of the day portrayed him as an ape. That's the equivalent of saying he was an N-word lover. So it has a long history, and it's not a good history. It might interest you to know that Obamas weren't the only ones that were caricatured as apes. Biden was caricatured as an ape in this thing as well. Biden's and some others. It's a long meme that basically is taken off of a long post. It's taken off of supposedly, that, king of the jungle business. Trump is the lion, everybody else is the ape. It is, the condemnations are, of course, everywhere, as they should be. Condemnations, however, in this country go one-sided. There are other things worthy of condemnation that get none. But I want to, before we get to the moral equivalency of what is outrageous and what is not to some people, I just want to say that this is something that is not only beneath the dignity of the White House, it is beneath the dignity of any politician, regardless of party, to actually contribute to this. I really do believe that. I believe that. Now, do I get my feelings hurt? No, I don't get my feelings hurt. I've been called every name in the book, as I said yesterday. And so I look at these things and I just say, man, that's really sad. That's really disgusting. The president, again, speaking on Air Force One, said he just looked at the first part of it. It was about voter fraud in some place, Georgia. I didn't see the whole thing. He said he gave the link to someone else to post. I gave it to people. Generally, they look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't. No, I didn't make a mistake. Well, the White House made a mistake, and you run the White House. And a mistake is the best way to do it. And so did I expect an apology? No, because apologies in this day and age are deemed in the political world, very often deemed as a sign of weakness. I think that what many Americans expect and want, look, Trump is Trump. Okay, and those of us that support this president, support the policies of this president, the support is based on his brashness. Let's not run away from that, on the fact that he's willing to take the fight back to Democrats and liberals in ways that Republicans who have put their tails between their legs and cowered for 40 years have been unable to do. And that's why so many people love Donald Trump. That's why so many people love his presidency. Doesn't mean he's right about everything. And I think that this is a really bad mistake. But I also want to say something else. I don't think this helps the arguments that we're making policy-wise. I think when everybody's trying to beat you down in the mainstream press because they're your political enemies, the mainstream press is Democrats, they're liberals. And this constant drumbeat of white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white nationalism, white supremacy. And then you add to that how your policies are being depicted in those mainstream press outlets, that you're trying to just enforce federal immigration law is a byproduct of white supremacy, ignoring the fact that the overwhelming number of people that have come into this country illegally are brown or black. That's just a fact. So if you deport the people that are here, most of them that are going to go home are going to be brown or black, because overwhelming numbers, that's who crossed the border illegally. But it doesn't help your case when you're trying to make policies that are the best thing for the country, that many overwhelmingly has a lot of support. And then you get this kind of thing, and there's not even acknowledgement that, hey, something was wrong here. And there's a lot of anger over this. And that anger is, in some cases, justified, because what we're not getting is, not only was this a mistake, it was an egregious mistake. It should have never happened. That's what you say. It should have never happened. You have to, even if you don't want to apologize, because, one of the things about apologies when they come from politicians, you just think they're apologizing to just get the poll numbers back up. You doubt the sincerity of the apology. I don't even want an apology. Just an acknowledgement. It's a horrible mistake. Should have never happened. It won't happen again. And not that the criticism of it is going to be done. I'm going to just tell you something else, just one other thing, and then I'll give up on this for the day. I spent all day on it yesterday. I want to move on to other things, but we do have some audio bites about this. Hakeem Jeffries, Stephen A. Smith went off on it. The whole Democrat Party, every Democrat congressman you can think of are doing it. And these are the same Democrats, by the way, who preside over, in some cases, American ghettos where black kids can't get an education, can't live in safety, Hispanic kids too, who are oppressed by the Democrat Party and have been with the legacy of the Democrat Party for centuries in America. And they're some of the loudest voices here. So the focus is on the meme, not on what is actually happening in the neighborhoods and what their culpability and responsibility is. So there's that part of it, which is also infuriating. But I want to one day see a country, this America, where black people can just live without having to be insulted. That's all, And by the way, for those of you that insist on insulting other people, fine, whatever, I don't care. But I'm talking about what I'm talking about is, and then we got to get to a break. I remember when Richard Pryor, who used to use the N-word all the time, went to Africa for the first time in his life. And he said it blew his mind. He talked about it a great deal, how to just walk in a country and see black people there, everybody with their head up high, no unease, no whatever. Now, I get the people that don't experience what life in America is like. For a lot of black people, won't understand the meaning of that. But I'm telling you, every black person that heard that understood what he was talking about. And this America is our country too. We're not inferior to anybody. Our ancestors, our mothers, fathers, great-grandfathers, granddaddies, aunts, aunties, uncles, our family histories are just as tied up in the United States of America as anybody else's. This is our country too. We are not inferior to anybody. We are not apes. We are not monkeys. We are human beings. And it would be nice to be respected as being human beings and being part of the American experience, just like everybody else who has a legitimate right to call themselves America. And when you say, which is so egregious, I didn't agree with Obama's policies at all. But Obama made it to the top position in the United States of the United States of America. This is what we all say. One day, child, you can be president. Well, Obama made it to be president. And what these memes do, and one of the reasons it's so offensive, is what they say to black people is, no matter how high you make it, you can make it to the pinnacle of the American dream, and you and your wife are still nothing but apes to us. You're still just primates. You're lower than us. It is horribly offensive. That message. And so I'm not just going to brush it off, and so many other people are not just brushing this off. Because this is just straight up wrong. And for the White House not to just say it's straight up, it was straight up wrong, shouldn't have happened, is an embarrassment. Yep, on that note, my friends, we'll move on to other things. But if you want to comment on it, help yourself.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.